Here we be again, outside the dungeon. There's enough cloud cover today where my vampiric, horrible creature of darkness ass can safely walk around in the daylight without getting melted. Who's messing around with this beast here? That came in recently. Finest Chinese-made guitar you could possibly think of. And we're going to take a look at this thing here. The tuner here. Hopefully I can get an angle where you can actually see the damn tuner. Technical difficulty here. It just ain't fucking showing up. Ah, there we go. Now, the nut on this thing has been done the way that I do it. Watch this E. I'm going to dive bomb the whammy bar as low as it goes, which isn't very far. Right back to E. Now the B string. Right back to B. G, same thing. D. Right back to D. Right back to A. E. Right back to E. Okay, now that's using a whammy bar on this thing. The other thing is E, F. There we go. Nice and in tune. A sharp. Pretty close to right on. D sharp. There we go. G sharp. Again, just about right on, dead nuts. B, C, right on. E, F, dead nuts on. That's by taking the nut here. And first of all, if you look at the low E string here, you'll see that I kind of combed it with a tiny rat tail file. Okay? So that it doesn't bind up on the edge as it's going in. I also went and combed it a little bit at the top, which is completely useless. It doesn't really make much difference. But I'm figuring less drag, better, you know. And I did this on all the strings going across the entire nut. So until I could push the bar down on the other end all the way and release it and have it come back on pitch. Now, of course, to lubricate it, I used some kind of nut sauce crap I found on Amazon because I lost the goo that I made years ago somehow. And so I used that, and then I used a silicone Teflon lubricant on the nut as well as on the roller saddles down the other end. That's a Goldo Les tremolo bridge. I love these things. They work great. Very nice feel. About more range than you get out of a Bigsby, but Not a Floyd. I mean, for me, this is a useful kind of thing. But anyways, so by doing that, I eliminated the binding of the strings in the nut. Also, if you look closely at how I have it strung, I use almost no winding around the tuner post. This makes a huge difference on tuning stability. The more wraps you have around the tuning post, the less in tune it's going to stay with these particular kind of tuners, or most tuners, in fact. If you put it through, like straight through the hole, wrap it toward the center of the headstock under itself, bring it up, and then start tuning, this part of the string will lock against the part of the string sticking up. Bend it over itself, tune the pitch, stretch that sucker out. Ooh, I'm making that nasty, nasty motion. Stretch that sucker out until it stays at pitch, and you will have a guitar that will stay in tune, even with shitty, cheap tuners on it. Okay. Next fact. Yeah, fact. Like I got the answers to everything. I'm a freaking idiot, as anyone who watches my shit knows. I also use a set of cheap-ass nut files. These ones, I forget if I got them on eBay or AliExpress or something like that. Each file has two surfaces for two different size nuts. Some of them are too big, some are too small, but you can kind of angle them around to generally get the rough idea of what it is that you need. And what I do is, starting on the high E string, is I file the nut height, the nut slot height, down until I get as close to a perfect half step as I can between the open string and the first fret, which is what we called half position when I was in high school playing upright bass. First position, of course, would be, not open, half position. I'm like, okay, whatever. And basically what you do is you do that slowly and carefully while monitoring it on the headstock with a clip-on tuner until you get a perfect half step. Once you do, you re-lubricate, you get whatever gook out of there you have to, you re-lubricate the slot, and you replace, you move on to your next string. And when you do that, the side effect that you end up getting, ultimately, is you get a guitar where the actual cowboy chords will actually play reasonably in tune. And if you're using a floating tremolo, like the Goldo tremolo bridge that I'm using here, it will stay reasonably in tune. You can make it go out of tune if you yank on the sucker enough, but I mean, you can do that with anything pretty much. I mean, a Floyd, I've done that too in the past. Kahlers, you name it. Locking stuff, I don't believe in personally. I mean, you can lock it with what it comes with most of the time, like I did here. I mean, see, like right here, how it just kind of like, it goes under itself and over itself. The actual string itself is locking the string itself to the post. And that little bent over part here ensures that it can't slip. So once it's stretched into place and your nut is lubricated and cut for correct height, I don't give, I know you're supposed to go to certain heights. I disagree, because most of the guitars that people bring me, they play horrendously out of tune in the first couple of frets. This thing, you can play C chords, D chords, G chords, A chords, B7 chords, whatever it is that you want. And provided that you understand the tempered, nature of a guitar tuning for it to actually work correctly, dude, I mean, it's like everything's in tune. It's ridiculous. Okay? So anyways, that's a guitar tech tip for if your guitar goes out of tune all the fucking time. You don't need a tremolo arm on this. If you do this on virtually any Gibson that people like sell string butlers and shit, you're just adding more mass to your, I mean, it might help, in terms of tone. I don't know. I've never tried one, so I can't really say, but it seems to me introducing more angles is the last thing that you want to do. With this hair, it kind of corrals it in as the string comes in, and because it's beveled on the edge toward the tuners, it just kind of slides on by once it's properly lubricated. for lubrication, I recommend, if you can find it, there's this stuff called Tech Lube. It's like a Teflon impregnated silicone goo. If you mix that with powdered graphite, you will get this slippery ass shit that will last for years. But anyways, that's the tip of the day. So, peace and like live long and prosper and shit. Jimmy Photon out.